Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi, and I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I want to talk to you about Celebrate Sunflowers and the lovely Flowers for Every Season DSP, because I'm hopping along with some other demonstrator friends to create a hop around fun folds. Now, for those of you that follow me, have a look at my blog. I've got a list of a whole host of fancy folds. I do like a fancy fold, but I like a fancy fold because I like to show you how easy they can be. And this one I've designed, I think really is available for anybody to make, and whether you've got die cuts or not, you could still make this card. So I'm using Celebrate Sunflowers, which has this beautiful focal image of a sunflower, some fabulous sentiments, a smaller sunflower image, and some leaves as well. And if you've got a die cutting machine, you're thinking about it, this one is great because not only do you have outlines to cut out the main shapes, you've got accent pieces like these flowers, detailed leaves, and this beautiful detailed sunflower which we're going to be using, you can see here, which gives some beautiful lines as well. Now I'm also going to use this lovely Celebrate Flowers for Every Season, which kind of goes with, because it's got a lot of sunflower images in it. So this is 6x6 DSP pack, and it's got a lot of the the new in colours, so Just Jade and Cinnamon Cider, you can see there, and Bumblebee. Then we've got some Magenta Madness and Just Jade again, and on the reverse you've got these more neutral kind of patterns as well. Floral images, quite bold on one side, and then, as I say, on the repeat side, a smaller or more generic image. There's a bit of Poppy Parade in there as well. At least I think that is. Yes, it is Poppy Parade. And Whisper White is the kind of coordinating basic that you've got with it as well. So you've got rose images, and I love this particular foliage image. Overall flower images, but some candy stripes too. Lovely tulips and sort of Just Jade dots, and then some lovely wintry ones, sort of Misty Moonlight, some Just Jade sprigs, of course some poinsettias, some more stripes, and then the last one again is just a more muted sort of palette as well. So that's the paper that I'm going to use, because I think this coordinates really well whichever one you use. And I've created this card here, which is a kind of pop-out card. Is it a panel card? It's a bit of both, but as you can see here, what the nice thing I've done here is actually made it so that focal image stays in the centre of your card all the way through. So to look at it, it's lovely, just a sort of a fold back gatefold, but with a little bit of a fun as well, and with that banner punch across the top too. So that's what we're making. You can see here it looks quite different. I've used another one of the pieces here, and some different DSP, but again I've used the same idea of having the panels either side of that central one for you to write your message on as well. And great, again, great because it stands up really easily, no flopping over with these cards. So that's what we're going to make. I've done some of the prep already, not least of all because let's just say it's been a bit of a mishap type day today, misplacing stamps when they're in plain sight. So this is going to be one of my third time lucky videos, so let's see how this one goes. Of course, this could never see the light of day. You're going to need your trimmer. I'm working in inches today, and the first thing you're going to do is cut a piece of cardstock 11.5 by 5 3/4 inches. Pop it in on the long edge, and you're going to start your scoring at 1 7/8, 3 3/4, 5 3/4, 7 3/4, and 9 5/8. Okay, so once you've scored that, I'm going to do another couple of bits of cutting. I just want a piece of Whisper White that is 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches. That's for my little banner. 1/2 inch by 3.5. As well, put that to one side, and the other pieces I think we're already cut. So Next I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm going to take, I've popped the large sunflower image on my Stamparatus, and the reason I do this is because it means that if for whatever reason my image doesn't quite stamp very cleanly, then it's very easy just to stamp it again without worrying about lining it up. As you can see, I haven't cleaned my stamp off. I'm just going to wipe that down with my Simply Chamois. It doesn't matter because it'll be the reverse that goes on there, but you know. So pop a piece of Whisper White on here, using my magnets just in case I have to restamp, and I'm using my lovely Bumblebee ink as well. So all you do with this is I would recommend you pop a stamp case underneath this side. That just helps you when you're inking up. Move all the way around, you don't want any lines on that image, and just simply, I'm going to move that across just a bit, stamp that image like so. Look at that, beautiful first time. And Stampin' Up! Stamps really are absolutely fabulous for that. The red rubber is so detailed. So I can pop that to one side now. And then you can do one or two things. You can either fussy cut this out, just cut it in the outline, or you can use the die that goes with it, with the stamp set. So if you've got that. Now lining up the dies, particularly with these ones which are a little bit more detailed, some people struggle. So what do I do? So the first thing I do is I look for part of the image that's a little bit distinctive. So here I've got some kind of points that are sticking out a bit and a bit of an angle. So I look for a similar bit on my die, and I just sort of carry on twisting that round until I've got it. And you can see there, by looking for those two, that then gives me a nice image. Now obviously it's quite detailed, it does cut narrowly, so what I usually do is just pop a little bit of my tape, bit of washi tape, one side or both sides, up to you entirely, and then I tend to use my magnetic plate as well and just pop that on. So I've got magnetic plate, my standard plate, and my top one, and I tend to keep a top one without die cutting into it. You will get marks, as you'll have seen on my other one, but look how beautifully that's cut out. Okay, so we've cut that out. We're then going to use the detailed die to cut out some of the bumblebee. So I've just popped that in there. So this is my die cut when I've taken it out, and you can see it's cut really nicely. And what I've done is attached some of our double-sided sheets onto the end there. And I'm just going to add my brush to the Take Your Pick tool. And then all you need to do, I'm using one of our stamp cases just to capture all the bits, and just run that over in different directions, and then you should find that you end up with a detailed die cut. Now sometimes when you've got the detailed die on the back, it doesn't not all the pieces come out. Now the other alternative to this is obviously to add some fine glue, run it through a couple of times, but usually when you peel off the backing paper, you'll see there, look, all of my little pieces pretty much have come out. And then I'm going to use the same process to line it up as I did with my outline. So I'm going for these sort of pieces down at the bottom here and just looking at where those line up. And there we go. And once I've got them, what I'm going to do is just pop those on and then lift that up, and you'll see that just attaches perfectly over the top there to give our lovely image. So that's the Take Your Pick die brush attachment, really worthwhile having, and you can see you can just pop that in there and it keeps it nice and safe and all together. Okay, so let's crack on now with the rest of our card making. We'll do a little bit of stamping. So now what you want are some panels to decorate your card base. So I've cut some here. So I've cut 2 from contrasting or complementary cards. So the ones for the inner, I've gone at 1 7/8 by 5 5/8, 2 of those. I've cut 2 for the front outer at 5 5/8 by 1 3/4, and 2 Whisper White at 5 5/8 by 1 3/4. And all I'm going to do with that now is again use my bumblebee and my elusive stamp that I misplaced earlier, and just tap tap tap, and I'm just stamping the image without the leaves, because I could have coloured the leaves in with my markers, but I just wanted to have that sunflower image. And again, stamp as much or as little as you like on these. There we go. Okay, so another little bit of stamping that we need to do now is our sentiment. So this is my 1/2 by 3.5 centimetre piece. And again, you could use whatever colour you want, but I'm going to stick with my bumblebee, just showing that you don't have to use lots of colours on a card for it to be effective. So pop that, I use my grid paper to help line it up, and hopefully I can stand enough over it. There you go, reasonably straight. And then I'm coming in with my Banners Picker Punch. So this creates a both flags and sort of like pointers. So I'm using my flag end here, and I'm using my pointy end here to just slide this. And you've got channels for 1/2, 3/4 and 1 inch pieces. And there we have our little flag. And obviously you could do a layer if you wanted with that. And then the final bit is to die cut some accents. So I've got a couple of leaves here that I've already cut, so I can show you. So this one has already got, these ones have already been die cut with the double-sided sheets on them. I've also stamped and die cut one of the flower images, and sort of a sprig or 2 as well. So those are my decoration, and this is the other half of my flower that I used on my first card. And the final little bit I need are 2 pieces of cardstock, which are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, and these are to create our kind of pop-up effect on the front. And just a little tip I'm going to show you when you're scoring on small pieces. So on this card, I'm actually going to be scoring either side or both sides of the diagonal. Now obviously getting that to line up is a bit tricky, so what I'm doing is line the points up just with the outer track, and I'm using a post-it note just to hold it in place, because you won't get your fingers in. And I'm just going to repeat that. So again, lining the points up just to one side of the scoring track, and repeat. And then you end up with a diagonal score which is about 1/8 of an inch across. And the reason for that is you want your flower to have space for those folds on the front to actually work. So let's get on with our construction. I'm going to push those to one side, and I'm going to come in with my bone folder. So all I'm doing here is just reinforcing those score lines that we made before I then zigzag fold. So all I'm going to do is just fold in from this edge and fold this one back on itself. And I've deliberately left a gap because you want that middle for our flowers to go into. So having done that, we obviously want to attach our DSP. So I'm using my Stampin' Seal, and with my inner ones, I'm just going to have a look at, there we go. I'm just checking my pattern matching, so you don't have to, it doesn't matter if you don't want to. And I'm just coming in with a bit of seal here, and this new seal is really great. It's got a great bond with the cardstock, even in sort of humid conditions. And although the UK, we have weather, we don't really have seasons anymore, but our weather is very variable, and it is a bit for us, hot and humid. I appreciate that compared with some parts of the world, it is nothing like. And you'll see by coming that, I've got a nice narrow border down the middle there. I'm then going to add my 2 panels. Like so. And those just add a nice fresh touch to it. And as you can see, that's where I put a misstamp, 2 sides to every card. Always use the reverse. There you go, so the last 2 panels, and then we can come on with our 2 front panels. And as I say, with these front panels, really easy, just to vary them depending on what decoration you want to do. So you just watch the orientation on them. Okay, and my final piece. And with the new seal, you just sort of, I find a little sort of slight, it's not even as much of a tip, a little flick at the end, just kind of breaks that join. So there we have our card. Now we want to add our decoration to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop my thanks a bunch. So I'm just popping some glue just on the one end of that, and then I'm going to centre it. You could always put a little pencil mark on that if you wanted to. The next thing I'm going to do is decide where my flower is going to go. And having created these little tabs, I'm just going to add some glue to those, just to the one side of that, and line that up with the edge of our paper. It's got quite a nice big centre on this, so you don't have to be too precise. Okay. So I'm just folding that back, pressing that down nice and firmly, like so. And then I'm actually going to fold my card together before adding the glue to these central pieces. Okay, so I can add my glue and then decide which way I want my flower and just position that like so. So while that's there, I can literally just with one hand, I'm just going to take off and add in some of my leaves. I'm taking the backing paper off. Now I would normally allow that to dry a little bit longer. And these, as I say, don't take very long at all. So all we've got to do is just add those on, and there we have, always the way, look at this, you see, these are, sometimes you need to take your pick tool, because they are really nice fine double-sided sheets. Don't be tempted by any old double-sided sheet. Some of them are not as good. So once you've done that, we can fold this back out. So that creates our little flower, and it sits proud a little bit. Hopefully you can see that there. And then all I'm going to do is add a couple of pieces of our foliage. So optimistically, I am going to add some foliage. Okay. Right, just a little bit of foliage, like so. I've got another piece here which I can just add, again just with a few dots of glue. If you don't add too much, it won't spread out. So just add that like so. And then to just finish that off, I'm just going to add one of our flowers, which I've just die cut in fact, and cut in half, and that's just to kind of cover up where those leaves are. And there we have another lovely thanks a bunch sunflower card with a pop-up middle that of course folds flat, ready for posting. So which do you prefer? Do you like our cinnamon cider version, or do you like our bumblebee with the raised centre? Lots of variations and real choice, and you can add as much or as little as you like. If you'd like to purchase any products, pop along to my blog flutterbyheidi.co.uk. You find all the links on there and all the dimensions as well. Otherwise, pop along to heidismith.stampinup.net and click on shop. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.